Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder have verbally agreed to a trilogy fight with a preferred date of July 24th in Las Vegas. That is per multiple reports on Friday afternoon, but no deal has been finalized. Now, this comes after an arbitrator ruled Fury had to fight Wilder by September, disrupting a planned bout this summer between Fury and Anthony Joshua. And here are some of the details surrounding Fury Wilder 3. Agree to face each other on the 14th of August. Arbitrator ruled that they had to fight by September 15th. Allegiant Stadium is reserved for the third edition of this fight on July the 24th. And for more on this and other developments in the fight game, let's now welcome in one half of the Morning Combat Podcast star, Brian Campbell, who's looking sharp. He's got the tweed jacket. He's got the sweet shirt. He knows we're talking about Squared Circle, so he's ready to go. BC, let's start with this. Your reaction to this announcement that Fury Wilder goes to a trilogy fight, and what's the latest that you've heard?
You know, from a legal standpoint, this is certainly a wild week for the sport of boxing. We were all building toward the crowning the first undisputed four-belt champion at heavyweight, in boxing history with Joshua and Fury. That fell apart. Now we're going to see the third Fury Wilder. And for some people, it's certainly a want, that's boxing situation. But if you want to talk yourself into this consolation prize, this is a very big fight. We know if Fury and Wilder signed a 2-fight deal after the first one. Fury won the rematch in 2020 by dominant stoppage. But we're going to see this third one anyway. Wilder has been very angry and quiet during his time off, certainly making multiple excuses for the loss. But now he's got a chance to come back and upset the apple cart in the title picture in this division. It's been a very interesting set of circumstances, yet at the very least, we're going to get a big fight that matters, and we're going to get it soon, as early as July 24th. As indicated, the backup date for the promoters at this point is August 14th, which was the original date, of course, for Fury and Joshua. At the very least, this active renaissance era of the heavyweight division is putting the best against the best, even if it's not in, let's say, the exact order or timing that we wanted to. Hell hath no fury, like an ex-champion scorned, and Wilder said he's coming back for blood, so this should be interesting.
I was waiting for you to get that in there. Hell hath no fury. Yeah, apparently Johnson's been working on his mechanics. So and as you mentioned, he's been very quiet since he was dominated in that other fight. Lots of excuses, but he's been putting the time in the gym, which is going to make this matchup even more interesting. So, okay, now if you're Anthony Joshua, I mean, you got to feel like you've been kicked out of the party for doing nothing wrong. What's next for Joshua after this?
The reports are there was a clause in the Joshua Fury contract that this could happen. It just wasn't likely. So what does AJ do? We know he's one of the biggest global stars, fresh off those 2 fights, of course, with Andy Ruiz. The second one where he won his title back, made a title defense last year. He might just end up fulfilling one of his mandatory obligations. Joshua has 3 of the 4 recognized heavyweight championship belts, and his WBO belt has a mandatory that's unbeaten former undisputed cruiserweight champion Alexander Usyk. So again, if you don't mind the consolation prize of Fury Wilder 3, at least from the standpoint that it could be fun theater, so could Anthony Joshua. Right now, his promoter, Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Sport, is looking at the final 2 weeks of August, 2 potential dates on back-to-back weekends to lock this in. One thing to consider about Usyk, although he's only had 2 heavyweight fights, the second one was a step-up opportunity against veteran Derek Chisora. He looked good in a close fight and got the decision win. Usyk is sort of that Swiss Army knife of the heavyweight division. He's a pure boxer, yet he's awkward and different. He spars and trains with Vasily Lomachenko and the Ukrainian national former team members there. This is a very interesting fight. I don't know if we're going to end up getting Fury versus Joshua with the same stakes we wanted it to be in August, of 2 fighters coming in, 1 loss between them, all 4 titles at stake. But both guys, Fury and now Joshua, appear headed in very difficult interim fights to hopefully set up the winners of both coming against each other maybe later this year.
Meanwhile, okay, Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez are set to step into the Squared Circle. These 2 undefeated fighters putting 4 titles on the line. PC, why are we not talking more about this?
It's a great point. This is one of the best fights boxing can produce. It's one of those old school fights, right? When the sport used to be the sport of kings, as they would say. So here's the deal. 2 unbeaten champions. Both have 2 of the 4 recognized belts at 140 pounds. and they're going to come together to declare an undisputed champion. Maybe the reason, despite the big network TV push this is getting, that it's not in the mouths of the casual sports or crossover sports fan this week is because both Ramirez and Taylor are reserved. They're all about their fighting game, let's say, but both are boxer punchers who love to mix it up when things get dirty. Taylor's from Scotland. He's a southpaw. He's big. You can see him there in his breakthrough victory in 2019 against Rougarou, where he had to be pushed to the deep waters. On the flip side, Ramirez has been through his own wars, knocked out Maurice Hooker in 2019 in their unification fight. This is a fight that's been coming for a long time. Ramirez from California is a bit of an overachiever, a hard worker. Taylor the bigger puncher, but something has to give. You have to believe we're going to see 12 hard, amazing rounds if it lasts that far. Both guys going for broke. You might have the celebrity of a Paul brother or even a Mayweather, but you certainly have two hungry young champions looking to make their name the old-fashioned way. And as you can see there, right? Boxing ain't dead in terms of the real fight itself.
Yeah, and the winner becomes an undisputed champion. That fight's on Saturday. BC, I got to ask you about 30 seconds. Who takes it for you? Who do you like here?
They're so close on paper. One's a southpaw, Ramirez is orthodox, but I think the difference, though, is Taylor is the bigger puncher, a little bit more of the naturally bigger man. If he can keep the fight at a little bit of range, Ramirez's own pressure, aggression may play against himself. If this becomes the shootout we're predicting it, I think Taylor's the last man standing.
Taylor's a favorite at -220. He is one of the hosts of the Morning Combat Podcast, Brian Campbell. In the know about everything related to the fight game. Good stuff, BC. Looking sharp as usual. And hey, if you want to check out everything from the MMA scene, UFC, and as you just heard, boxing, it's a daily MMA boxing podcast, Morning Combat. Download and follow wherever you get your preferred audio.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.